maidens on dirt, and just kind of was there and wide most of the way, putting a bit of the run like around the turn last time, just kind of flattened out. We'll see. Sometimes you don't know with these shippers from her coming from Kentucky what they're going to do. So we'll see against this group, just a little bit in there. But for me, it was some 8s, and if Millie Jean beat me, and we'll see what the 5
we had to fill out the top 4. Political spins a 4th for me. I really feel like strongly it's either 5, 7, 8. But we'll see what happens in that opener. Race 2, mile and an 1/8 in this $50,000 starter allowance. This one for 3-year-olds and up. And you have gone to Cumberland Blues, now moving to a new barn, claimed off of Wayne Potts, and now to Pat Quick.
Yeah, listen, we're going to see if he'll get any pace today, because I think that's probably his biggest factor, because he's got several races in here that make him a player, even though he's moving up in class in here. What I like about this horse more than anything else, Greg, to be honest with you, is just comes from off the pace, doesn't mind splitting horses, doesn't mind having to come wide, doesn't mind if there's some trouble, obviously getting carried out in the stretches we see, in the replay here. So for me, gets a nice inside post today, is going to have to step up a little bit against this group and also go first off the claim from Wayne, obviously, which is tough to do when you claim off a trainer like Wayne Potts. But this horse has been in good form in the last 3 starts. Hopefully we'll get a ground-saving trip and just a slight bit of something to close into in here. But I think this horse is going to be a price in here worth looking at.
Well, and the horse, too, it is tough to claim off that barn and move forward, but incredibly consistent. The horse has been first or second 7 of the last 8 starts. This horse is probably going to show up and at least bring that run. I thought the 3 and the 6 are big standouts in this field. I wound up going to the 3, Striking Sparks. Jamie Ness, we saw have a win the other day. This one, that race was just bad last start from this horse. This horse put together 3 consecutive races, granted all at Parks, but that just decimate this field, that no one can compete with this horse, and then completely goes backwards in that Aqueduct race. It looks, thoroughgraph-wise, even a lot worse than what it was on a Beyer scale, but I'm willing to look past that performance and say this horse gets back on track, because, of course, it's been very consistent and consistently better than most of these in here, has tactical speed, is able to be close early. Ruben Silvera is going to take advantage of that. And I think really the one for him that he has to worry about is Principe Doro.
Yeah, look, with Principe Doro, and I'll get back to your horse in a second, but Principe Doro, I just kind of feel like last time out, when you watch this race, Joel Rosario was just intent. Like, he was just going and was going to take the race to them. And that's something he doesn't usually do all the time. We usually talk about Joel coming from off the pace, but I just wasn't expecting that from him. Now, listen, he forced the 3 in that race into kind of losing that race in the end, and then kind of dropped back off of him and won anyway. So we'll see what happens with him in here. I just feel like that race from Principe Doro was the exception rather than the norm. We've seen it a few times from him. He's run big races, but just consistently. We'll see what we get from him today on the outside.
It was definitely a big step up.
Yeah,
that race
from
him was, but even the start before that, I feel that race, which is probably more what we're going to get from him, even that race 2 back from him, I think is going to be pretty tough to beat in here.
We'll see. We'll see how
unless
plays
the
out.
3 shows up.
Yeah, if the 3 shows up. And my question with the 3 is, it's like half of 6, half a dozen of one and 6 of the other for him. I feel like Ruben Silvera was on him early last time, and I just didn't like that look. So we'll see if he's a little bit better now having a race over the track. But a mile and an 1/8, I think, suits Striking Sparks better. I think it gives him a chance to relax and be able to kind of settle from just off the pace. So we'll see if he's right and he runs well second time in New York, because I think that's the big thing, because the first race kind of left a little bit to be desired, especially since he had to be worked on early.
Yeah, that was a concerning, just aberrant performance from him, but we'll see if he gets back to what he can do. Interesting race, though, for sure, in that second race. So race 3, 4-day claiming race, 1-turn mile coming up in this spot. I think it's quite a few. One of my favorite horses, and I actually had brought this horse up on the air the other day. To me, it was a horse that at Saratoga back in August, he was the absolute lock of the entire meet for me. I went off his favorite, fine, but anytime you can identify horses like that, it's a good thing to single and multi-race wagers, things like that. So I felt at least okay that
you had something
that
right.
He came
you were like,
through
yeah,
for me, because I did. I mentioned this the other day too. I tweeted out on a different show that a horse could not lose during a race day at Saratoga who wound up runner-up, and I should have.
All right, well,
it kept my fingers off the keypad on X.
All right, but the horse didn't run like 7th. The horse ran second, so second's okay.
But I guarantee
it's only
to
first
win.
loser. Second's better. Second's better than 7th for sure.
All right, so with the 3 here, what do you like with Midnight Trouble?
Listen, last time out I loved the cutback for this horse, and just was kind of wide in a race where Floki's Flight was able to control the race. And I think today this horse gets a better setup and has a better post. And, even when you look at last race, too, I mean, I know he wasn't going to get to the winner. He just kind of had to hit the brakes a little bit, too, a little bit in the turn. So when you put that all together, I think the pace setup's better. I don't think Floki's Flight's going to get to control today and have an easy lead. So I think Midnight Troubles, it's a nice trip. And the mile seems to suit this horse pretty well from a distance standpoint. I think you get a price, too.
Yeah, you should. So Tom Worley, second off the claim with that one. We'll see. Yeah, Floki's Flight, to me, really interesting. And I know there is other pace in here, and this horse has controlled the last two, but gets that inside post. And back-to-back efforts where this one has run very strong figures where he's paired up. And to me, that means he's going to move forward in here, which makes him interesting. But I, too, like you, was concerned with the other speed in this race. I mean, you have Magnolia Midnight. Irish Exit can be close. Even on the outside, Garuvan is one who can be close. I thought it really sets up nicely potentially for Running Ray again. Horse who's been, you say, well, stepping up from 20. He's won against better. He won for 50 at Saratoga, as I mentioned, this summer. He's been incredibly competitive for 40. And some of those fields, I mean, winning it at 50 at Saratoga, that's usually – the claiming races there are usually a lot tougher when what they're listed as.
Oh, 100%. And honestly, the drop to 20 doesn't bother me because that's the way the blueprint that you see a lot of times from not only –
And he crushed for 20.
Yeah, for not only winning move, but Linda Rice, too. Spots them, gets them claimed, moves on to the next horse. So – and looked good doing it last time out. So I think this horse just sits another good trip in here like you. I have the horse second in here. I have no knocks on this horse.
Yeah, and I think actually at a mile he might be best. But, yeah, tactically he's not going to be that far out of it either, and I think there's plenty of pace to set it up for him. Irish Exit, what do you think? He's dangerous off that performance last start. Do you trust it from Parks?
That's the biggest problem for me because, I mean, I know the races 2 and 3 back were tougher, obviously, and didn't have much for these horses and just kind of was on the chase, too, 2 back against some of these horses, too. So the races here in New York kind of leave a little something to be desired with this horse. He might be a better out-of-town horse. We'll find out today if he's on the chase again today because I just feel like the pace doesn't set up – the pace setup's not good for him again unless he's going to find a way to be able to rate here off these horses.
A monster effort, but a lot of times that Parks form does not translate and then show up. But it's another interesting kind of cog we're throwing into these races, having these Jamie Ness horses show up.
Yeah.
And, we did see him get a win yesterday, and quite often they're major players. You got to make these decisions.
Yeah, and the one thing you're going to know is, I mean, if the horse breaks, Ruben Silveira is going to be forward with a horse that has speed. You don't have to doubt that. So
we got a middle pick 4 coming up in the 4th. It's a maiden special weight, 1-turn mile in this spot. And you got to start with exploration here. We both have on top. Go back and watch this race if you have not. This was at Parks.
Yeah.
Very expensive son of Curlin, who is dead last early and makes this huge run.
Yeah, listen, and for me, it's not like he got into trouble at the start. He just ended up well off the pace. He just didn't have any early speed, and he made this nice, big, sustained run inside, then tipped out, and he just missed, So I thought that was a solid effort off the layoff. He finally gets to pair races together. Now, finally, when you look at Brittany Russell, she's 31% stretching out Maiden's first time on the dirt. Her horses run well here. They're always well prepared. Sheldon's here to ride the horse. I just feel like if this horse shows any bit of – and it's bred to go longer, by the way, too. It just shows any bit of improvement off of that layoff. I mean, this horse is going to be tough in here, I just think. Just ran the better race than a lot of these horses.
Yeah, expectations. Son of Curlin that went for $900,000. But, January, and then we don't see this one come back to early November. So, as you said, and that could be a big part of it, gets to build off a race now finally.
Yeah, I would think so and grow up a little bit. I actually want to go down and see what this horse looks like, too, in the paddock because I just want to see how big this horse is, takes from the Curlin side or from the dam side. But even the debut race was not bad, was behind horse, but was forward in there and then at least made a bid in there before flattening out and then obviously had the time up, but ran dynamite off that layoff.
And then obviously Stronzino coming off that third-place finish, and that was at 7 furlongs, so it's not a big hike to go out to a mile. And the horse has run good at a mile and beyond before in some straight maiden special weights. But Index Fund, pretty good horse that this one had to deal with from Chad Brown last time out, who won with an 88 buyer. Yeah,
listen, if you look at this horse's race, I know it says bumped and got steady, which did, but I got a good trip after that.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if we're at the point now where, this horse has run some fast enough races, but is this going to be one of these horses that we're just going to constantly see from just off the pace run second and third all the time? And we've kind of seen like this horse's ceiling for now. We'll see second start off with the layoff. Maybe needed the last race. It was decent enough with a little bit of trouble in here, but I don't know. I put this horse 4th. I thought this horse was going to take money and I just thought even though the 8 was the favorite in here, I just thought the 8 was a more likely winner than the 5.
What were you thinking with Ignite the Light?
So, look, layoff after layoff with this horse, but when you go back and you take a look at the race in February from Santa Anita, that race just was not good. Got off slow, ended up being 3 and 4 wide around the track, which is just not a recipe to win over at Santa Anita. And then last time out, did get into trouble, but just kept ending up wider and wider and wider at Saratoga. And the mile races in the Wilson Chute, I am not the biggest fan of, and I don't. Depending on how a horse runs in that race and depending on post position is the way I kind of look at it. Now this horse ended up 4 wide, 5 wide, 6 wide, and just had nothing. If you go back 3 starts back in the mud, maybe didn't care for the mud. So a couple of excuses, was against the track that day as well. So just looking for a price underneath to get behind the 8 in here, and now comes back with Lasix gelding in this spot for Rick Dutrow. Lane Luzzie's up, maybe a little bit more of an aggressive ride, and we get more of what we saw in the first and second start of the career from this
I like
horse.
the third to Sierra Leone.
Yeah,
I mean, second start of his
and El
career,
Capi
so
was in there too against the track that day, which I mentioned back in December too.
That alone makes this horse a player. And the horse is going to be a big price.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some ability certainly in there. New gelding, getting Lasix, maybe that wakes this horse back up and kind of gets back to the promise this horse showed early on.
Yeah, I think this horse might have a little bit of speed too from down inside if it can find one of its first 2 races too.
Yeah.
Should be a little bit forward in here as well.
Race 5 and then we break?
Sure.
Sound good? All right, let's do race 5, start of the pick 6, and we'll take a break here. 1 turn mile in one of these restricted maiden optional claiming races. Horses is sold for $50,000 or less, their most recent sale, or in for that optional claiming tag in this spot. I found this race incredibly difficult. I mean, it's really hard to latch on to someone in here. We shockingly kind of agree with Linda's Jewel. What'd you like?
I am hoping that 1, the fast track helps this horse. 2, I'm hoping that the stretch out to the mile helps this horse because there is more. I know it's more synth and turf on the dam side when you look at it, but I'm hoping the length will actually help. This horse took money in all 3 of the starts. I'm hoping this horse is the speed of the speed in here too, because I don't trust really any of the other horses that have speed in here. So I'm hoping for an aggressive ride in here, and I'm just hoping this horse establishes some front end position and shows some heart, and she gets the job done on the stretch out.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same thought process. Look, this horse showed turf sprint speed, so to me, this is the quick of the quick.
Yeah.
And Shannon Newski knows what she has to do, get to the front with this filly. And I like the fact, too, it's you see the turf start in there, separated by a couple of dirt starts, but it's sort of that 2 sprint stretch out. Obviously 3 with the turf sprint as well, but I like now this is the time to try and go long. And a lot of times when these horses do go long for the first time, and we're only going to a mile here, it's not a mile and an eighth or anything, but that could be the best time for them to finish and close and seal the deal. And it doesn't look like there's a field with a lot of hungry finishers in this spot either.
No, and I mean, even if you look at other horses that you think may have speed in here, I mean, maybe the 7 shows some speed, but I mean,
this one should be in
yeah,
front.
I mean, really, I mean, I just can't see unless we're on a dead send with the 7 in here. And I mean, I know the 9's dropping in class in here and has Ruben Silvera back, but doesn't have, I wouldn't think, a ton of early lick. We'll find out, but yeah, it was 6 for me. And then I just really, for second, I landed on the horse coming in from Parks, who just really ran the best race coming from off the pace that any horse has run. And I know the horse got beat by 12.
The 3.
But yeah, but Maximus Angelicus was a Butch Reed horse that has good, really, speed and kind of stretched that field out last time out and drew off. So, I mean, I know the rest of the field wasn't good, but at least this horse ran second in there and showed a little bit of passing ability.
Yeah. And look, Heavenly Light's going to take a lot of money for Horacio to pause, but 3 of the 4 starts have been on grass. 1 of them came off the turf, and that was 46 Buyer on a well-beaten second in a state-bred maiden special. We're supposed to make this one 8-5 off that effort.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's a bit short, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit short. I think it's a bit short when you consider Vagrant a faster figure in a race that I know the horse got wired and the field was bad. I know all figures are relevant depending on the way it runs, but I don't trust. I know it's a drop in class for the 3, but it's and same drop for the 2. Dropping in class in here. So I don't know. I have Heavenly Light third, but I just thought there was better pricier options.
Yeah. All right, well, that kicks off the pick 6. We'll take a quick break, come back with the late pick 4 right after this, or late pick 5.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Greg, Paul, back with you. Late pick 5. We'll get into right now. Starts here in the 6th race, conditioned $16,000 claiming race. 6 furlong sprint. And we have the race, and let's start with very funny here on the inside. You have 3rd. I have 3rd, but a major player for Linda Rice with Kendrick in here. This was back on December 1st in a win as the favorite.
Yeah, got the right trip, was well placed, and just sat behind horses and got the job done. I mean, found the right group last time. This was a nice reclaim, and we'll see what we get today. I mean, listen, from the inside post, probably falls into almost the same kind of trip today. It's just a question of whether or not you want to take the horse at probably a short price.
Oh, good form coming in, but even that performance repeated, would this one maybe need to move up a little bit if Thank You John shows his best?
I would think so, but again, it's all relative. You got an inside post, and we'll see what this horse does. I mean, when you look at Thank You John, I mean, I guess, the argument you're going to make, obviously, is ran the fastest race last time out in 2 of the last 3 starts, and actually showed good speed last time out as well, too, which, hasn't been in front in a while. So it was good to see this horse hold on at the end of the race or something.
Yeah, I don't know what for 2 for 19 coming in, and as you said, that kind of jumps up to a figure we haven't seen from him since really, December of 23?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm not going to not use the horse in multi-race wagers, but I'm a little wary we're going to see that kind of performance again.
I start to buy into when starts start to pile up, especially at a venue. He's 1 for 12. Okay, there might be some excuses in there, but he's just 1 for 12, 0 for 7 at the distance. So, and if there's some other pace in here to keep this horse company, which the speed came from last time, we haven't seen that in a long time. This horse is rated effectively, but I don't know, man. Against this group, it's hard to take for a barn that's kind of struggled on and off throughout the year, too. And you're going to get a real short price on this horse.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued by the one you actually took on top here. So that's Money's your top pick. The first, actually, 3 starts of this 3-year-old's career, those are the 3 fastest races that really anyone's ever run in any race in this entire field. What's happened since?
Yeah, there once upon a time there was high hopes for this guy, right? So this is probably the easiest field this horse is going to face. Comes back as a gelding today, comes out of one of those races from the Wilson chute, ended up kind of wide early and then just never really fired. Laid the horse off again, dropping in class. Gelding now from the outside should get a nice stalking trip outside of any speed in there. I think this horse isn't going to take that much money because I think they're going to bet the 1 and the 7 and the 8 in here. So if this horse can remember anything from those first 3 races of the career, he's going to be a little bit tough in here. I'm more intrigued by your horse than you are of mine. I must have missed something with the 6.
Look, I'm taking a shot. I'm going to a huge long shot in here. Dad's good runner, and I mentioned those first 3 starts of That's Money's career.
Yeah.
The 3 quickest races of anyone in here. With the exception of 1 race, and that's the race that Dad's good runner ran, which matches up as fast as anyone in this entire field just 3 starts ago on this racetrack back on June 22nd. So the horse has that ability. Yes, he's 2 for 26. Last couple of starts have been terrible. I'm not worried about that. Didn't get out quick last time out. This horse has speed to be forward. Now the blinkers come off. If he can break sharp in this race, and somehow doesn't even have to run that career best effort 3 back, but if he can be forward, even just sitting off a horse early in here with the blinkers off, can relax. I think we're going to see some finish from this horse today. But there are not just that one isolated race. There's some other races, too, back there against better company. Get the sneaky okay race on that wet track against Open N1X company with Factually Correct, Radio Red, Cunchion Bridge. That was a loaded race and ran better than looks on paper, I think, in that spot. So he's got a couple of races to go to, and he's shown the ability, to be forward. And if he can, I think he becomes a very dangerous horse at a price in here.
Listen, back in February, he was 4-1, and he beat Barry Funny that day. So, I mean, listen, I'm not going to knock
change
anybody
quick in this game, don't
they? Yeah, I'm not going to knock anybody in here, especially, like I said, for me, Thank You, John, was tough to take at what was going to be a short price in here. So if you have an idea for anybody that's going to be a number,
gotta be forward though. Gotta go with this horse early.
I would think so. So we'll see what happens.
Race 7, that would shake things up a little bit, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, that would shake up any pick 5 or pick 6 that you're playing.
New York bred maiden special weight here, 6 furlongs. In this spot, we're going to take a look at catchphrase in here. Obviously, huge scratch. Mulkey coming out.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was between the 2 and the 3. And with Mulkey coming out for Brad Cox, catchphrase is going to be an incredibly short price right now. And we'll show you the debut back on November 22nd. Had the lead gets nailed late at odds on. And we saw Amelia Green just left the Todd Pletcher barn to go out on her own, get that first win.
Yeah, hopefully
not in this race though.
No, but hopefully she'll get another one with this horse. And listen, I don't blame this horse at all for kind of giving it up a little bit late. I mean, look at the quarter and a half,
Incredibly
21:44. I mean,
fast
blazed it. You know,
Yeah.
that was the fastest we've seen around here for a while. And when you look at the horse that won the race in Grandilla, you know, I mean, 7 starts, and it's not like, you know, that she wanted to win at some point. So I don't really blame the speed here. I think the speed came back just slightly. But, I mean, if this horse improves any slightly bit in here, I mean, this horse is going to be in front. And to be honest with you, now it's going to be a much shorter price because I didn't like
3 to
Mulkey
5
at all today.
probably.
And I thought Mulkey was going to take some money in here. Not that it was going to be a huge disparaging thing at odds, but it took away some of the price. But this is probably now one of the more likely winners.
This is the shortest
today.
price favorite
Yeah.
we're going to see all day. I will say this. Look, even the incredibly likely winner, a lot to like from that debut, as he said, with those fast fractions. But, and maybe not, excuse me, near as fast. Good mission from the inside with Kendrick Carmouche. She's got turf sprint speed, and she's got Kendrick aboard. They have the inside, so they have to go. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying she's going to out-quick Catchphrase to the front. They're going to try, though, and they're going to make this one work harder than she wants to work early.
Yeah, her dirt race was okay. You know, when you go back to her debut at Saratoga, Ariana Rye just ran one.
And I'm not
I think,
saying
like
I
2
like her
weeks
as a
ago.
win candidate. I'm just saying
Yeah, no, she's going to be part of the
pace-wise,
pace. Yeah, she's going to be part of the pace in here. So we'll see how the break plays out. But yeah, I mean, if she breaks on the inside, she's going to have to go. So my only question is, did she improve because of the turf, or is she just improving now at this point as a 3-year-old and she can run now on the dirt?
I
which
just
even
think
transfers
she,
to the surface?
more interesting than anything, she causes a pace problem potentially
Yeah.
for Catchphrase. And if that happens and she softens that one up on the front end, then where do we go in here? Does calling an audible become more interesting?
Calling an audible was probably the more
We
interesting.
both have second, by the way, to
yeah,
7.
Look, you can make a case for this horse kind of maybe to win a little bit in here, depending on the pace scenario. I just have a problem. I know Eddie Barker's going well, but I mentioned this before, and I'm the last person in the world to knock a rider or say anything, but he just hasn't won here in New York as far as the rider goes. So for me, that was a little bit tough to take. And listen, the dirt start back in April ran into Al's Ruby. We know how good Al's Ruby has turned into 2 nice open victories
For
for
Clement,
Clement. Yeah, last week too ran well. So I think if you want a horse that's going to come from off the pace, this is the horse that you're going to want
Yeah,
in here
I agree.
for sure. You know, if the pace gets hot in here. So it was 2s and 7s for me, and then kind of just everybody else.
But, having said that, too, Catchphrase is probably going to be 3 to 5
Yeah,
in here. If
I
we're
would
lucky,
think
right?
I would think 3 to 5 or maybe even a little bit shorter because really Splashy, you know, it's 6 to 1 in here. I mean, I don't know how much money Splashy's going to take.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Good Mission might take a little bit more money than Splashy, but I mean, now we're going turf to dirt in here, and she'll get pace, but she's got to do a lot better than she did in her other dirt starts. Maybe it's going to be like a 2 to 5 on Catchphrase in here and everybody else.
All right, let's move on to race 8. $10,000 claiming 6 furlong sprint coming up in this spot. And honorary degree, I thought a huge scratch because that was the half of the entry. I actually thought was going to be incredibly tough in here. But Jake Rocks, I still do like. I think the race absolutely goes through this horse for Rob Atras coming off that win last time out, gate to wire for condition 15. I know it was at Parks, but has good form in New York too.
And he's shown good speed in his last 2 again early, which is when Jake Rocks has been good. You know, I remember when Jake Rocks got good around here last year too, had him a few times and picked him on top. I think I was the elixir to get him back in the winner's circle. I always joke about that with people, but I like that, you know, he's shown that speed again and he's been able to finish, and that usually means that he's doing well again. And he drops a little bit here, but that doesn't really bother me that much, and he should be forward in here as long as he's right.
And sorry, waiting for your picks to come out. You had him on. Oh, you had the
I
2
have him
on
third.
top.
Yeah, no, I have him third in here. I think he can win. This race was a little bit tough for me. So I ended up with Uncle George.
He ran huge last time. It was
Yeah.
a big effort from him.
Yeah,
for
especially
the
that he
level.
was widest, you know, all the way on the turn, you know, made that and then kind of flattened out late. I don't like that he hasn't won over the track yet. I'm just hoping that off of that race, he's going to get a better trip. Today, he'll be a little bit tighter for that, a better move. We'll see if Lane Leslie moves him a little bit differently from the inside. But he's
I mean, a
run
lot of
races.
those losses are against better company.
Yeah, and he's run races that are competitive here, too, as well. So I think he gets a decent enough setup from inside. But I got a little trouble. I could make a case for all 3 that I've had.
Yeah, I mean, I think air shows, if Jake Rocks doesn't show up and run how he did the last couple of starts, it opens this up.
Yeah.
I do think he's going to be very tough. But, yeah, air show to me is a horse who's interesting, who's moving forward. And then Banyan Breeze, I know it was at Finger Lakes, it was 5.5, but this horse likes to win. I mean, 12-time winner for this gritty 8-year-old. And this is a horse that's tactically going to be probably in the right position.
Yeah, I know it's better.
Interesting rider too.
Yeah, I know it's better forms at Finger Lakes, and I just wonder if Sofia Vivas is going to actually take this horse a little bit further back and come from off the pace as opposed to being just on top of the pace. We'll see. She's very heady. She's a good rider. For people that don't know, she's spending the winter here.
I think she'll be aggressive.
One of the
this
top
one.
riders at Woodbine. We'll see how the pace scenario. I think this horse may come from slightly off the pace if we disagree on that, but I think I think this horse does have a good shot today. I have the horse second in here. I'd like to see the form be a little bit better down here than it is, but I think the horse is coming in here in good form and has faced some decent horses up there. So, an air show, I just think is better than we've seen. In recent times we saw it. Lately. Last time just was on the wrong lead in the stretch. So.
Yeah, that was
Hopefully
kind of a
we'll get better
wake-up
this
race
time.
from
Yeah.
Air Show, who's certainly capable on this level. Race 9, ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right, entry-level allowance, 7 furlongs coming up in this spot, and we lose a major contender in here with All Class coming out of the mix in this spot, but this is still a really good race. There's a lot of ways to go here.
Yeah, it's a solid race. You could make a case for quite a number of them in here. And
Having said that, we agree.
we landed on the same horses for 1, 2, and 3
Yeah.
in here.
Let's see. We'll start with Caldwell Loves Gold, and then we can show the one that we'll take a look at Striker Has Dial. But Caldwell Loves Gold for me. Look, turf back to dirt this afternoon. You see that New York Oaks win against Sweet Brown Sugar with that 83 buyer at a mile and a 16th. I think it's 7 furlongs might be perfect for this horse.
I just think this horse has a sweet spot today going the 7 furlongs, and it's going to get pace to run into today, you would think, and should be a little bit better for the class that this horse has been keeping.
I mean, even before that win in the New York Oaks landed, that is a serious New York bred filly. Is really good.
Yeah, and I mean,
Wesley Ward.
Yeah, and even going back to some races last year, Life Talk and My Main Squeeze, so better horses.
Yeah.
And just a better. I think this horse is a better dirt horse. Honestly, I know this horse has had some good turf races, but I think this horse is a better dirt horse, and I just think it's the right setup today and should be coming late.
We got to talk about Striker Has Dial. We both have second, who the big standout on the resumes, that second place finish to Ways and Means. But this is a look back to Saratoga, muddy sealed track on August 3rd. Behind St. Benedict's Prep is a very good runner. Third in this spot. Tried to do it on the front end the entire way this stage. Is backed up to third late.
She's shown really good speed in all of her dirt races, but I think she's also shown that she could stalk and win if she needs to. Let's say the 3 goes. I mean, I know we have a scratch, with the 1A was going to show speed as well. We'll see what the 1 does from the rail as well. So I think that the outside post is going to help her in here. I think she could sit a little bit in here. And I mean, her last 4 dirt races, I mean, she just faced better horses that won these races. When you go up and down the line, Wayne's and Means, Misjustify, St. Benedict's Prep, even the 3 starts back at Parks. Horse is a decent horse, so she should be stalking outside.
To me, this is a difficult race. The biggest question mark for me in this race was She's a Tempest. Second start now with Bill Mott, a filly who was multiple graded stakes place after she had just broke her maiden out on the West Coast at Santa Anita. What do you do with her? Because, you see those graded stakes place races, but still, to me, she's not as fast as some of the others in here.
She's not.
But she could improve.
Second off the layoff, she can. I just don't know. You get the blinkers on her today, so are they going to show more speed, or are they more of a focus thing for her as opposed to her wanting to show more speed? We'll find out. I feel like she falls into the same trip she fell into last time, being on the chase a little bit and having to be a little bit wide. So I'm not sure she's going to get the right setup today. And she's a horse in here who's probably going to end up taking money. I wonder how they're going to bet this now, looking at the board, because I can't see Save Us Melania being the favorite in this race. So I wonder if
I think that was probably because of All Class, right?
I mean, I didn't like the entry anyway. I just felt All Class, the field that All Class ran against last time was not the greatest of fields anyway. So I was hoping maybe that horse stood in would have took some money. But now I just feel like Caldwell Loves Gold and maybe Striker Has Dial is probably going to take some of the money. But David's a lot smarter than I am, and he gets it right basically all of the time.
Race.
So.
But so tepid feeling with Caldwell Loves Gold, or are you strong on this
I like strong. If the I guess that the pace setup needs to be right, but I think Caldwell Loves Gold is going to run a big race today. I would say 5s and 7s would be the way to go for me anyway in here.
Not easy the way we close things out. If you're alive,
Not
pick
anymore.
6, late pick 5. Good luck. You probably want some coverage in this one to close it out. It's a New York bred 40 maiden claiming race, 7/8 of a mile. And I'll let you start here with the 9 Endless Vow.
So a couple of things with this horse. Finally draws outside. It's dropping in class today. Needs to just get out of the gate and have a clean trip. I think that's going to make the world of difference for this horse. You go back a couple of starts back, this horse did kind of lunge out a little bit at the break, but it wasn't terrible. Just ended up 5 wide after that and ran into Blam's Bliss Kiss, who's going to be running tomorrow in the stakes. And third place horse did come back to win the next time out. So I feel like that race kind of draw a line through. Didn't get off to the greatest of starts, was wide that day. Last time out, did get bumped and pinballed pretty badly going around the turn, heading to the 3/8. If you go and watch that race, got knocked around, got knocked into the rail, ended up dropping back. So finally drawing outside, finally dropping today. The break is key with this horse. If this horse can break today, not find any trouble, get a nice spot somewhere, maybe by its lonesome or
It's
just
a
on
big
the
if
outside.
with the way she's run so far.
Yeah, but the dropping class, I think it will help because if she runs something back to that 50 buyer that she ran in her debut, which was not terrible, she's going to factor in this race.
It's a tough race to close out. We're going to take a look at Frankie Hiccups in career start number 3. This was back on October 31st. Wound up getting to the front, taking the lead, and then in the stretch, Nilo's Rose comes and gets this filly. But, you know, off this start, even off the debut against a little bit better company, 51 buyer in that spot, this might be the horse to beat in the race going in.
It's going to show speed for sure in here. I mean, you go back August Handsome came back to win, Central Casting came back to win. I just kind of feel like now you're going to have to take a short price on this horse today who's going to be forward because you're definitely not getting 28-1 like you got last time.
Because she's going to be in front and she's going to be the one to beat. Yeah,
yeah, I know, but in this
field,
it's hard to want to take her at what's going to be probably 5-2 or you know, in that range. I mean, there's not really much else to go on in here. I have the horse second in here because I just figured that she was going to be forward in here, and I was going with just a price.
What a job by Romero Mirage too to
hang
on yesterday with that debris
that was
on the racetrack. Scary situation.
That
on
was
Mama's Gold, who ran brilliant again.
Yeah, I mean, and still, regardless, I mean, his whole left leg came over to the other side out of the saddle, and I mean, listen, for people that say that jockeys are not athletes or they're not at 100% focused, at any moment you can see what happens out there, and we have some of the best that are out there day in and day out, giving it their all. And I mean, that could have been really bad yesterday, and kudos to Romero Mirage for staying aboard and keeping the horse straight and getting the job done.
Yeah, incredibly athletic move from him. Happy to see him get that win too. I went to Backwater. I just think there's some upside here. It's George Weaver, always incredibly dangerous with his 2-year-olds. Horse, you know, showed a little bit of ability. Beat 6 horses first time out. I forgive always first start to me, and I know George Weaver, he usually fires first time. I always give a pass first time out. I think we're going to see an improvement from this horse. Here's start number 2. Got an education in that first out effort. And again, no one really scares me a lot in this race, so I'm going to go with a barn who I feel like I can trust with these 2-year-olds.
Listen, the horse ran 4th, but I got to say, you know, early on, you could see the horse tossing her around, didn't really care for the dirt, was not comfortable. I like the fact that when she steadily dropped back, she still came back on again for 4th. So, again, with that experience, as you said, now today, maybe the break is better, a little bit more speed, and runs a better race. I have the horse 3rd in here. I mean, I could make a case for it. I could use all the 4, 5, and 9 in here if I'm playing, you know, any pick 5s or pick 4s. I just want a little bit of coverage here where I feel like I could lean a little bit earlier.
Yeah, you got it. And then, look, kind of race where Rudy Rodriguez with a first-er, a Catholic boy, Melanie Giddings with a first-timer, Broken Zipper. It's chaos potentially in this last race. Obviously, you want coverage if you're alive going into this last one. Unless you're right, do not be lean here.
Yeah, no.
I would no.
This is one of those days like where when you say to me like, who are you leaning on? It's not the 9 in here. I'm definitely using the 4, the 5, and the 9, and hoping that I get through.
Yeah. Good luck. Interesting card this afternoon. Again, our coverage, we'll show you again here in a minute, kicks off at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, FS2. You can play all the action by getting signed up with Naira Bets. That's where you go to play it all. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Bonus 200, that code to use for new members at sign up. And get that offer with smiling Flavian Pratt there at NairaBets.com. And once you're a member, again, take advantage of track stats. Bet smarter, hopefully win bigger with weekly track trend stats and betting insights. Take advantage of everything available to you at Naira Bets. And this is a great promotion today. I'm going to get signed up for it as soon as we sign off here. That 3K hit, split, extra money for you if you're correct in the late pick 3 at Aqueduct and or at Oaklawn Park. You got to opt in. Don't forget to do that to be part of that promotion. We've got a cross-country pick 5 comprised of Aqueduct and Oaklawn later today because it's 3:06 Eastern Time. And then again, our show, we kick off at 3 o'clock Eastern on Fox Sports 2.
Sounds like a plan.
You excited?
I am. It's a good week of racing for us to close out our time right before the holiday break. Good stakes races tomorrow. A lot of money on the line for New York Breds or New York Stallion Series that we love to always see the New York Breds in the spotlight. And there's some money to be made today because I think there's some vulnerable favorites.
All right. Good luck, everybody. Enjoyed it. Great job.
Always fun to be with you.
All right. Card coming up in what? Just 47 minutes.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.